Hi, I'm Daniel and this is Plumpy Thimble. Today I'm going to be talking about my time at OrcaCon, a convention that's based in Seattle and has a heavy emphasis on inclusion and focuses on a lot of local creators, designers, and creatives. It's been a number of years since I've covered the convention, so I thought, why not give it another shot? They've moved locations. Traditionally, they've met in Bellevue. They are now meeting at the DoubleTree just across the street from the SeaTac airport. It's a much bigger location, but a slightly longer drive for me. The convention was held over the weekend of January 10th through the 12th. However, I was only able to make it down for Saturday. So everything that you hear here will be from my point of view. It is not a comprehensive list of everything that was there, but I want to give you a glimpse at my experience and talk about why I like OrcaCon so much. The first thing I want to talk about is the Merchant Hall. I love the Merchant Hall at pretty much any gaming convention, but OrcaCon now had the opportunity to have a bigger space, which meant a wider variety of local artists, local designers, and local merchants to sell their goods. And with it being a board game convention, it's heavily nerd focused, which is just perfect for me. I love walking through there. Every year I get to see Sean from Thing 12 Games, who has his setup in the Merchant Hall where they show off their board games, and I've covered some of them in the past, and I highly recommend that you do so as well. Lots of cool artists were there, and they had one of my favorite things that I saw was a little shoulder snail. It was a magnetic thing, and someone that goes to Disneyland a lot, that's the type of thing that you would see there, so it was neat to see someone hand making their own. I ended up buying two things in the Merchant Hall, so I'll focus on those right now. The first was this book, Card Games Inspired by the Pacific Northwest. Immediately caught my eye because of the binding and just the high quality of everything. I'm a sucker for like fancy notebooks and stuff, and this caught my eye. It is a set of custom-made games that can all be played with a standard deck of cards. I got 20% off because I backed their custom cards that are coming out on Kickstarter, and so I'm excited to dive into that. Again, local artist, local creator designed this game. It's a really neat little piece and not something I expected to see there. The other thing that I bought was, and hopefully my wife isn't going to watch this, she doesn't watch these, is some Ooh La Long tea from Friday Afternoon Tea. A tea shop that was there that had lots of nerdy themed teas. They had them all on display. Lots of edible glitter, which I was a big fan of, so I bought myself a little pudding tea tablet. I've never tried it before, so we'll see. And then a bag of that oolong tea, as well as a nifty little pin. It's kind of cool. Another thing that OrcaCon likes to have is this community section. It's sort of a hallway with different booths, with different organizations from the community. And again, like I'm just scratching the surface here. So the three that I interacted with, the first was Extra Life, who they get involved with a number of fundraisers through Twitch streams, board gamers. They're one of the more well-known organizations there. So I talked to them for a little bit. They had a little 5e campaign, which was cool. Really great way to interact with the attendees of the convention. Then I spoke with the Brush Wielders Union, but it's an organization that encourages people to paint their miniatures. The idea being that any paint is better than no paint. Genuinely, I think I passed them up in the past and would have had I not started painting miniatures like 3 weeks ago and found that I absolutely love it. Got to speaking with the gentleman that was at the booth there and learned a little bit about it. If you support them for $5 a month, you get a booklet at the beginning of the year, as well as each month you get a custom stamp mailed to you, and then you can diary your progress, your goals, your works in progress, painting notes. There's sections for swatches here, and it's a community that encourages each other to continue painting their miniatures. And you can set goals for yourself, and if you complete those, you get a cool little enamel pin that changes every year. The final table that I talked to was Game On Youth. It's an organization run by I think just one woman, the woman that I talked to at the booth, and it is geared toward creating gaming events for neurodivergent youth, creating spaces for them to where they can thrive, they can be themselves, find connections. It was a cause that does interest me and interested me a great bit, so we got to talking, and I was a little disappointed to find that they did not have any events up in my area. The big thing was the gaming hall. It has a giant library, very, very impressive library, and at this new location, far more tables to sit down and play at. At no point was I struggling to find a place to sit down and play, as has been the case in conventions past, both at this convention as well as Terminal City Tabletop Con, another convention that I really love going, and they had a booth at the community hall as well. One of the things that I love about the gaming hall is Playtest Northwest allows designers to present some of their works in progress to the public. So I got to sit down and play some games that are really in the infancy of their design, and there were things that I really, really liked. But you get to give feedback to designers that are looking for that. One of the things that game designers desperately need oftentimes is playtesters, and so OrcaCon gives that opportunity to them and says, hey, here's a whole section of tables where you can try out games that designers need to know how it works. And so that was really cool. I got to play a push or luck card game, in addition to some that are either on their way to publication or, in this instance, one that I know is going to be published because I've been hired to create how to play video for it. If you watch this channel at all, you know that I've done and continue to do some how to play games for Sunrise Tornado. I was thrilled to be able to hang out with Tate Wu, the owner of that company, and he had Cat's Gambit, which I got to play in the Playtest Northwest area. It's a single player little cat chess puzzle type game. Really, really fun. So you can see content for that coming soon. I will also be doing a how to play for the Boba Mahjong Grande game, which is just a larger version of a game that I've covered in the past. The first game that I ended up playing as a prototype was Legends of Gadia. It's a game that is based on a fantasy novel series which is not currently out. I know that because the designer was the one that was presenting the game and teaching us how to play it. And she's also the author of the upcoming fantasy series. The game's coming to Kickstarter soon, and it was a lot of fun. I will have some sort of coverage on it in the near future. I'm going to be getting some pictures that I'll post about it, but it's essentially a shedding game where you've got a big hand of cards and you're trying to get rid of your cards faster than anyone else. Very familiar premise. The complexity is added in that there are a number of types of hands that you can put out. Lots of different combinations. There's a cheat sheet, so you can put a pair of cards out. You can put a combination of one number and another number, and it makes these sort of hands that tell a story from the fantasy series. It's a game that seemed a little bit confusing at first, despite its easy premise. There are 12 cards in the game, and there's copies of those cards. One, the artwork was great. The intrigue of the gameplay was fun because it wasn't just oh, there's a trump suit, there's nothing I can do about it. You could try to collect a certain combination that would work together, despite them maybe not being the highest cards put out there. Another game that I got to see playtested and kind of playtest myself, and this will segue nicely into the panel section, is Interpretive Art. The designer of that game, Ashwin, he's created Wolves in the past, which is very, very popular, ran a panel where he had a number of people up on stage or in front of the audience to play the game. They were given abstract ideas, and then they had to they were given abstract shapes that they had to coordinate to get the audience to guess what those shapes represented. It was a very, very fun game, and I really hope that it gets picked up because it's the type of game that I could see myself playing at the holidays. So that was one of the panels that I went to, and then one of two. Like I said, I was only there for one day, so my time was limited. This is maybe the fourth time that I've been to OrcaCon, and I have never been to a panel until this year. It didn't interest me, right? Like I've been to PAX West, I've been to PAX Unplugged. Those panels seem like an event. And when I go to OrcaCon, it's a far more comfortable convention. And it's one that I would much rather spend time just sitting and gaming. At least I thought, so that I would go and do that. But I was determined. I had a press badge this time. I'm going to go check out some of the panels. As I said before, the last one that I talked about, I really enjoyed. And the very first one that I went to was called 5 Games That Make Us Flip the Table. So the topic was 5 games that the presenters had that made them really, really frustrated. And the way that it was presented was fun because you had Amanda Panda on there who was just gave 5 games that she did not enjoy playing. And then you had Phantom Meeple, who gave 5 games that he loved, but that really stressed him out and made him upset sometimes when he played it. And the same with Rolling Reggie, I think, went with the exact same type of situation. So it was fun to get a wide variety of games that gave those emotions and get some good suggestions for games that sounded interesting to me. So if you go to these small local conventions, don't pass up on the panels because you'll get some interesting viewpoints and it's just as exciting as like a big convention. I really enjoyed it, and I'm for sure not going to miss all the panels when I go back down to OrcaCon. So that covers some of the more official things that I did at OrcaCon. So I'll go over some of the sundries that I did. First and foremost is Jonathan from Geek Dad. I love seeing him now every year. He provided a handful of dexterity games because it's something that I enjoy, and so I was so excited to get to play those with him. The first being, I think it was Tiny Laser Heist. It was a game that had elastic lasers. There was a cage frame with elastic lasers going around, and you had to use rubber hands on sticks and work with a partner to try to steal gems. Incredibly frustrating, but a lot of fun. The other one that we played was called Rapid Dungeon, that's one that I really am going to look at and maybe try to buy, because it's the type of dexterity game that's super quick to play, easy to explain, and very, very exciting. And the gist is you all flip one card face up, and then you throw your foam player at it. And there's a bunch of small rules that go along with that, but that's the gist of it. You're trying to land your piece quickly onto the card that you want. But the one that I'm actively trying to get so that I can cover it and make some funny skit videos with it is Rhino Hero XXL from Haba. I was thrilled to see, and I didn't expect him to have, but Jonathan brought it, and we had so much fun. By the end of it, the tower was, we had to start on the ground, not the table, but we built it higher than we could see. So by the end of it, I was jumping to get my cards at the top of the tower, and that was so much fun. I like Rhino Hero as it is, and it's even better as it gets bigger. Amanda Panda was kind enough to teach Ravages from Pandasaurus Games to myself, Anna Marie Phelps of Violet Daisy Games, and Beth and Daniel Sobel, and that was a lot of fun. It's a flip and write game, kind of a flip and write game, but you've got 2 cards, you choose something from it, cross it out with a dry erase marker, and mark it off on your map. And you've got these islands that you're exploring, and as you pass resources to the next person, they take sort of what's left over, and you keep going in a circle, taking resources, filling in maps, getting new islands. It's a very quick, snappy game, easy to teach, and one that I had not heard of and really enjoyed playing, so that was a lot of fun. And to return the favor, I made them play Spoil Me Not, my favorite card game. It is very, very mean, despite it looking very, very nice. I love it. Jess CCG was there as well, and I didn't get a chance to play a game with her, but she also had a press badge, so it was fun to see her kind of going to different panels and looking at different things. Yeah, see what she says about OrcaCon, because I had a blast. But she did introduce me to Drawn Hungry, and rather, she introduced me to the designer, Jordan Misha Johnson, who did all the art and the design for this cute little game. It's very Beatrix Potter-esque in terms of the art, which is a big thumbs up for me. What it is, and I don't mean this disparagingly, just as a way to quickly describe it, but it's an apples to apples style game where you've got one person that's judging and everyone else that's putting out options. It differs in that it's not just, here's how it differs. A theme is picked, so it could be movie night, and then a secret ingredient is picked. It could be jelly beans. Those are out there. Everyone else now has to create a dish through dish cards in their hands and using ingredients with ingredient cards in their hands, and they have to use the secret ingredient as well. And then they make their presentation on what their dish is and how it fits the theme of that round, and then the judge decides which one is the most appropriate. It takes that concept of picking cards to match up with a prompt and adds a social element to it, adds sort of almost a role-playing element to it, and I'm excited to dig into this because it pairs something cozy with something that could be conflict-ridden. I also got a chance to play a game with Starla and Grant from Our Family Plays Games, as well as 2 other people who aren't content creators, so I'm not going to give their names here. But I played a game called Trio last year, and I did really enjoy it. I was terrible at it. And so I said, you know what, Trio was fun, not for me. They introduced me to a game called Nana, which I found out was the almost identical Japanese original version of Trio. So basically I played Trio again and lost just as bad. It did endear me to it enough that now I am considering buying it, because it is far better in person than it is playing asynchronously online, which is just devastatingly terrible. OrcaCon in local conventions are a great opportunity to meet some of the people in the gaming community that maybe you know from the internet but don't know in real life, or to find people in the gaming community nearby. It was really great to meet up with people like Carla from Weird Giraffe Games, who I've worked with in terms of a reviewer capacity, but I really only get to hang out with her at a convention. I didn't get to play a game with her, but I got to catch up and talk. It was really cool. Similarly with Andromeda Pendragon, I've known them for years and had never met them in person until now. And it was like catching up with an old friend, and it was genuinely someone that I had not met in real life. We had so much fun talking that I forgot to take a picture of the game Tidal Blades that they were setting up from their employer, Druid City Games, so they were kind enough to send me this picture. I also saw some of the Flat Out crew there. I cover a lot of their games, which is really, really fun for me. The kicker was that Joseph Chen was wearing a Flat Out Games hoodie that is not available to purchase, and the whole thing was patterned like the Calico tiles, and I really, really want that. Anyway, that was my OrcaCon 2025. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Follow me pretty much anywhere, primarily on Blue Sky, at Plumpy Thimble. TikTok's going to be interesting. As of when I post this, I'm not sure where it's at. Maybe it's still a thing, maybe it's not. Regardless, that type of content I'm still going to be pushing out to my Instagram as well as my YouTube shorts, and I'm going to try to get that out there. And then I'll repost a Blue Sky, but if TikTok's still a thing, follow me on there as well. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.